What's going on, YouTube? This is Jim Afanis, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view 2015. Overall, I thought the pay-per-view was really well done. There were a couple really good spots, and of course, just like every pay-per-view, there are a couple boring kind of here we go again moments. But overall, I thought they propelled a lot of storylines well into the future. So let's just dive right in. First and foremost, they started off with the actual Money in the Bank ladder match, and I thought there was some really good action in here. But as I've mentioned before, when you have these matches that are bloated, and let's go ahead and call them bloated because that many superstars in the ring is just, it's not going to work out. You end up getting a guy like Roman Reigns, who's usually a beast, gets clothesline, for example, and he sells the clothesline for like 5 minutes. He just completely rolls out of the ring altogether. And then you have Sheamus who comes in, he gets, I don't know, body slammed, he rolls out of the ring. So you get a lot of guys selling injuries for a really long time that they wouldn't normally sell. And then you have these moments where somebody's about to win, and then the guy who we thought was down but not out miraculously comes to his senses and makes the save, and then the next guy knocks him out. And it basically just turns into a queue of 2, maybe 3 superstars in the ring at one time fighting. I've thought that this formula hasn't worked for a while. Unfortunately, I don't think it worked so much in this match, but the action we did see was really good. I have to say the surprise had to be Kofi Kingston coming out with New Day actually defending him as he tried to claim and get the ladder. But we all know Kofi Kingston is not anywhere close to main event material anymore. They've buried his career, unfortunately. The last time he was really relevant was during his feud with Randy Orton maybe 4 or 5 years ago when Randy Orton was the face of the evil empire. I remember they bought him a car, I think it was a race car or something, and Kofi Kingston destroyed it with an axe or paint or something, or he did like a Trouble in Paradise on it or something weird. So anyways, unfortunately I knew he wasn't relevant, so he was a scratch. Neville, who I think is really cool, he's definitely a young up-and-comer. You knew he wasn't going to win it. So at the end, when I saw Sheamus climbing that ladder and Neville going to stop him, I knew Sheamus had won it. I think we all did. The real highlight of this match really didn't come from the match per se, but it was the interference by Bray Wyatt taking out Roman Reigns as he tried to climb the ladder. I think that successfully is going to revitalize Bray Wyatt's career because, let's face it, he really sucks. When he had the Wyatt family and he was this evil kind of cult leader, it was amazing. Since he's gone off on singles action, he hasn't done that well. I remember he went up against Undertaker and got beat. He went up against John Cena and got beat. And he just kind of turns into this weasel who just loses. So making him a villain and having him come out in that really weird leather kind of butcher's garb was really creepy. And I think it really matches his character well. They've already announced that Battleground Roman Reigns will be fighting Bray Wyatt, so hopefully that feud picks up, and it'd be nice to see Bray win a few matches. I think Roman and him could have some really good fights, so we'll see how that pans out. After that, they had the Divas match between Paige and Nikki. It was good. I don't know. My wife and I were kind of debating this a little bit. I think Nikki's time is done. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that the Bellas, particularly Nikki, elevated the Divas Championship and elevated women's wrestling in WWE. Now, I've always said that I thought TNA women wrestlers were superior to WWE because they did more spots and stunts. And in their credit, WWE has put more emphasis on women's matches. You still only get one per card. There's usually only one made feud going on at a time, but it's nice that they're not just valets anymore because some of them can wrestle really well. And it's always exciting to see that. And it's nice to see that the women got more than a 30-second throwaway match or some stupid gimmicky Divas stockings match or pillow fight match or something dumb. So that was kind of cool to see that. I think Paige would be a great championship. I think she's ready. She kind of has that AJ-esque flair to her, kind of that anti-hero element going on. Nikki winning via twin magic again with Brie. The little, Brie comes out of the ring. I mean, I don't know how people can't even tell that they don't even look remotely the same anymore for a lot of different reasons. And they did make fun of that when Paige figured out it was Brie, and Brie's pulling out her stuffed bra padding saying, "Not me, not me, not me." And she actually pulled down her pants to show her tat above her, like by her belly button. I was like, whoa, this is about to go X-rated. But Yeah, her winning, Nikki winning again by nefarious ways. Okay, I mean, I guess she's going to be a heel champ now. I prefer when she just wins by pure dominance, and that's kind of how I thought she got her claim to fame and put her name on the map by doing that. But for her to start turning into like a heel champion, I don't know. I don't think it fits the Divas well of what the Divas are trying to build up. So that's why I thought if Paige won, maybe you'd have more of a clean winning champ again. But you know, what do I know, right? They had a really bad throwaway match between Ryback and Big Show, and they hyped up the fact that Ryback had finally gotten a championship, even though it was an Intercontinental only. But hey, it's cool. It's still a good strap. And him and Big Show coming out was just a weird feud to begin with. I'm not really sure why they started fighting. Somehow Miz got himself injected in the match, and then you had on Miz TV, Miz was kind of pitting them against each other, and it's weird. I think a lot of us could agree that this whole feud makes no sense. Last we saw, Big Show was kind of in the Authority, then he vanished, then he comes back and he wants the Intercontinental Championship of all things. I don't know if it's because if he's upset with Ryback because he's using the name Big Guy and he's the big guy. I don't really know. No, it was just really bad. And the action was okay in the match, and then the Miz comes out and just ruins it, and it's just a throwaway. It makes Miz more of a weasel. He hits more people. It does nothing to advance his career that he interfered with a match that he had no business being a part of. Ryback, who is supposed to be a fighting champion, has yet to defend his belt at all. And Big Show comes off as, I don't know, getting wrecked. I don't know. This didn't seem good for anybody's career, and they need to scrap this feud immediately and get a real opponent for Ryback. Put Big Show in a different storyline. And Miz, I don't know. I haven't seen Miz wrestle in a long time, other than when he was doing the weird Miz Dow with, Damian Sandow and him, and the Hollywood gimmick isn't working out. I've said this for a long time. I think Miz has got to go. Just my thoughts. The two big matches are the last two I'm going to talk about, though. And you had KO versus John Cena. Now, what makes Owens such an amazing athlete, in my opinion, is the build that he has. And he's a bigger guy. He does some amazing spots. I mean, he is like the best of a Dean Ambrose or a Seth Rollins, but in a package of like a big bruiser guy. And just an amazing, amazing match. These two guys really come out and perform very well. And I think that what makes, Cena's always been kind of touted as like a stiff wrestler and doesn't necessarily put on always the best technical matches. I think Owens brought out a lot of good stuff in Cena this match. There was a spot where Cena did this kind of half somersault pin slam towards the end of the match on Owens that I have never seen Cena pull off, and I was amazed to see that. And I think a lot of Owens' high-flying, spins and corkscrews that he does that turns into slams or bombs off of the top rope to Cena really propelled Cena to kind of mix up his offense a little bit. The Kevin Owens, stealing Cena's move twice, doing the attitude adjustment, doing the you can't see, the five knuckle shuffle. That's good. When a wrestler steals another wrestler's move, I love that, because that's just the ultimate, like, in your face. You know what I mean? So that was really good. A lot of good action going back and forth between those two guys. One thing that I noticed about this match that was really weird, though, is Cena was whining a lot. He was whining a lot that he wasn't getting the 3 count, and that's not traditional Cena. There's a lot of twos, and they were short twos. They weren't long twos by any means. And Cena was like, "Come on, ref, I should have got the 3 count." And that's not who Cena is. I don't know where that. I don't know if that was something that John just thought up during the match, or the creative team told him to do that. But that just doesn't work out for Cena. I hope that doesn't come back again, because Cena is not a whining champ. Cena's a fighting champ. He's always been a fighting champ, and he's based his career on that. So for him to whine about, I didn't want him to get a 3 count, that's kind of lame. I wasn't a big fan of that. Of course, at the end, there was a kind of a botched stunner by Cena. So everything I said about him being a great technical wrestler, obviously. I don't know if it was so much that Cena messed the stunner off the top rope, or that Owens didn't sell it well, but it just kind of looked weird. Of course, Cena immediately follows up with an AA. We knew what that meant. And Cena gets the win. One thing to note, though, is that I cannot recall the last time that Cena actually tapped an opponent out by the STF. That seems to be one of those moves that's losing a lot of, I don't know. It's losing a lot of gusto. But overall, with the WWE, I think we can all agree that submissions are definitely going the way of the dodo. I don't know if they'll come back anytime soon, but the last time you've seen like a Hell's Gates or a figure four or something, a strong finisher, other than Rusev. Rusev would probably be the only exception with the accolade. But I don't really see a lot of submission finishers right now, and I don't know if there's a reason behind that, but it was just something I noted. Of course, at the end, Owens cements himself as a mega heel after Cena, kind of extends his hand and the feud's going to kind of be over. Owens power bombs him through the side of the ring, and that was amazing. Cena sold it really well, limping off, and Owens, like I said, this feud has got a lot of legs now. Sometimes I have a hard time figuring out what Owens is going after, though. He seems like he wants to be recognized for his, physical dominance, and then he kind of loses all that immediately and goes into just like a cheap shot heel tactics. Kind of reminds me of CM Punk. When CM Punk was kind of coming up towards his last run of the career, how he kind of was the voice of the voiceless, and he's like, hey, I've been a guy that's been doing this for a long time, and now it's my time to shine. Owens kind of harnessed that early on when he was giving his promos about how, he's not a young guy. He's been around a long time. He just didn't get the opportunity Cena had. And I thought that was a good angle for him. But then to do this weird kind of cheap tactic at the end, I don't know. I kind of hope he goes back to the earlier, I didn't get the respect I deserve, rather than just another cheap heel doing cheap hits. But awesome match. I know we're going to see more of these two guys again. And kudos to WWE for bringing the NXT roster up and continuing some amazing matches with those guys. I lied. I said I had 2 more matches. This is not 2 more matches. Primetime players, millions of dollars, beat the New Day, which I think is great. The Primetime players have been a long overlooked team in a very long time, particularly Titus O'Neil. I think that guy has amazing star power, amazing charisma, amazing moveset. He's got a good physique. I like Darren Young a lot too, but if you notice, Darren Young is kind of the beatdown man. So the pay-per-view is no exception. Darren Young comes in, gets his ass beat for about 10 minutes, and Titus comes in, makes a save. That's kind of how the Primetime players are. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. I would like to see the Primetime players bring some more charisma back to the Tag Team Championship. I suspect after this, Titus will probably break off and go solo, but we will see. The New Day, I think, is a good heel team. They definitely get on people's nerves. I will say that. Whether you love or hate their gimmick, they definitely go out there to get a reaction, and they do. So that's what this is all about. Whether you love them or hate them, wins or losses, doesn't matter. If you're talking about them, then they're doing the right thing. So that was cool. And then lastly, of course, the main event. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins was amazing. Amazing ladder match. It just shows how much stock the WWE has in these guys. You think about the run that they've had from the Shield to today. They are still constantly talked about. They are still constantly put into main event status. And those guys are just amazing technical wrestlers. The stuff that they put their bodies through is ridiculous. There's a lot of really hard bumps on Dean Ambrose, for sure. Seth Rollins, I think, got off a little easier. One of the craziest things towards the end when Dean Ambrose hit Seth on the Spanish announce table with Dirty Deeds, they didn't clear any of the monitors or microphones or anything. And boy, they are really lucky they didn't get hurt. I mean, maybe that was by design or whatever, but wow, that was when Dean Ambrose came down, his head was less than an inch away from just getting busted wide open on the corner of that announced monitor. So guys put on an amazing technical match, a lot of back and forth, a lot of chairs and ladders, and not as many high-flying stunts as I would have expected to see between those two, but in a match like that, you kind of have to have one guy who's always on the brink of winning. And typically in a ladder match, when you have both guys go off the top rope, or off the top rung rather, and crash down onto the canvas, typically they're both out of commission for a while. So instead of seeing them both laid out, unconscious and twitching, you just had one as the other one slowly tried to climb the ladder. I think the match ending is probably about the best you could have asked for. Dean Ambrose is red hot right now. It would be really stupid to have him lose clean. Seth Rollins is definitely starting to redeem himself in terms of distancing himself from the authority in terms of getting doing things on his own. It was kind of funny that he lost to J&J on the Raw, the go-home Raw, but the fact that he went out there and did it on his own was really good. The WWE rules consistently changed. If you look at the replay, Dean Ambrose clearly pulled the belt off the hook but I guess because Seth grabbed it away at the last second, I don't know. Of course, it has to be a controversial ending. There's going to be more of this. These guys are not anywhere close to done feuding. I kind of thought towards the end maybe it'd be cool to see Roman Reigns come in and interfere and help Dean win the belt. But the more I thought about it, the fact that these two guys went out and did it on their own, I think shows a lot of the new depth of the WWE roster. And having these two guys headline was a great way to end the night. I'm curious to see what storylines progress out of this in the future. I would like to see Rollins become less of a weasel and more of a dominant champ, kind of like Brock Lesnar in terms of just going out and getting it done on his own, but we'll see how that plays out. Anyways, that's all I have. Great pay-per-view overall. I loved it. Anytime you bring a ladder or a chair or anything to a regular match, it's amazing. Money in the Bank is always very exciting. Curious to see if and when Sheamus makes his move. We will find out soon enough. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. Please do me a favor. Comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you guys thought about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And until Battleground, I will see you guys on the other side.